Hello everyone, and today we're going to be talking about the Sofadio, hopefully I'm saying that right, delay pedal. So, let me get my notepad because I had some things I wanted to make sure I mentioned here in the beginning. This might be a little bit of a long intro. So, there should be timestamps and chapters available if you just want to hear how the pedal sounds, but I have some good things to hear and to say here. So, today we're going to be doing things a bit differently than how we normally do things. So obviously the intro was a bit different because normally I give a rundown on what the pedal is and kind of some statistics about it. However, I wanted to just mix things up today. I also wanted to do this because this is not a quote-unquote name brand pedal. I say quote-unquote because I never thought that Donner or Sonicake or Flamma would become name brands, but they kind of have nowadays, honestly. So one important thing to say right off the bat is thank you to Sofadio for sending me this pedal. And another important thing for the viewers is that Sofadio will be previewing this video. However, it will not affect my opinions of how this pedal, works, or my personal opinions of how it sounds. So another thing I wanted to mention was that this is a new kind of face for Sofadio. Sofadio started, as far as my knowledge, or at least, for a long time was a delay and a distortion pedal, but they were made in these single color kind of powder coated 1590A style enclosures, and they were kind of these kind of like cheesy looking symbols, but one thing that I thought was kind of cool of the old design, though it kind of looks weird with the three different colors, is that the knobs actually lit up when you pressed the button. I think they kind of replaced the normal LED indicator light. So I thought that was cool, but yeah, other than that, they didn't really have a lot of, for lack of better words, sex appeal for guitar players to purchase them. Though I think that they might have been pretty good pedals. I know that the original delay was, at least in terms of a mostly analog pedal. I don't know for sure if these are fully analog. I don't really know what fully analog is considered in a delay pedal because technically all delay pedals are kind of a hybrid digital, but anyway, that's semantics. This is the new face of Sofadio. They're kind of going for this kind of darker theme with these kind of sigils and different things like that. Like on this one here, we have the hands doing some jutsu symbols, opening a portal, it looks like over here. So it's definitely a far departure from the original designs. And they also introduced a new crunch pedal, I believe they called it, or an overdrive pedal of sorts. So there are two other pedals in the current Sofadio series, so please give this video some support if you want to see me be able to work with Sofadio again. So another thing I wanted to talk about was the box, and that is because these guys did some things correctly that other companies hadn't, and there's also some also nice little add-ons. So something they didn't do correctly was they put something on the face of the box, at least the outward facing box if you're putting it on a shelf. However, it is just the brand name, not the pedal name. So they put the pedal on the top, which is still better than some other companies do, but I obviously would prefer if there was something saying delay along with the Sofadio logo. But I think I might be one of the few people who's actually complaining about that because most people just throw away the box. Now, some other stuff that actually comes inside the box that I thought was a really nice touch was it comes in a plastic bag, which is kind of standard now. It comes with the manual. I don't remember how useful this is really. I think for the most part this pedal is kind of self-explanatory, though some of the names can be kind of misconstrued. But the nice little touches that are in here there are two of these 3M rubber stickies that you can peel off, and you can put these on the back of the pedal, and they are cut so that they are on the top and bottom edges. However, they don't interfere with the screws, which is a nice touch because a lot of a lot of other brands like to cover the screws for, you know, trying to make sure that people don't go inside the pedal. But these Sofadio, either they're not afraid of that, or they're just cool like that. And the final nice touch that is actually a lot more helpful than a lot of people give it credit for is they have this clear, sparkly stomp top, which allows you to put just makes the button on the foot switch on the pedal bigger and easier to press either by hand or by barefoot, which I've actually gotten a lot of use out of this. I put this on when I was doing my tests and stuff with this pedal, and I really like it. So yeah, I would just go over here, but I left it off for this review. So yeah, they almost got the boxing situation perfect, if only they had put the name on the end of the box. So they get like an A on the boxing situation for the add-ons and stuff. Not an A+, simply because of my one gripe that I have with basically every brand's box.
One thing I forgot to mention is that the construction is actually fairly good. It's on par with just about every other pedal. Knobs are nice and tight. They feel like they are loose enough that they're easy to control, but they are not so loose that they are going to be slipping around and stuff like that. Foot switch has a nice click, but it's not as smooth as others, of course. The pedal is in a metal 1590A style enclosure, but it seems to be some sort of custom enclosure because it is not perfectly a 1590A. I think it's a little wider.
So, we finally have gotten through all of the stuff that I wanted to say initially, so let's get into the actual review portion of the video. So, the setup is that I have two microphones. I have one that's close mic'd, so that you have more of a recorded sound, and I have a farther mic that is more of a room hearing sound, that it's more like what you'd be hearing through my ears, though different, obviously. Microphones are never usually one-to-one unless they're super expensive, and I do not have super expensive microphones. So, we are recording through the Boss Katana 2x12 combo amp. We are recording through the panel channel on the clean setting with all of the... Ooh, actually, I have to change my settings back because I was messing with my distortion channel. But we will be recording on the panel channel with everything set to noon except for volume and all of the built-in effects. We have the pedal running through the effects loop, so we could go through we could use distortion with the pedal if we wanted to, and the pedal would be coming after the distortion, but I'm thinking that for this kind of pedal that delay probably should have gone in front, which I probably could fix, but I think I'm just not going to do distortion in this video. We are going to be using for our guitar a Squier Stratocaster, one of my favorite guitars. My Fair guitar, which I normally would use, unfortunately seems to have some weird intonation issues with the, I believe, G string, so yeah, can't use that right now. So normally this would be my half step down guitar, but I tuned it up to normal standard tuning and drop D tuning. So on the pedal here we have the controls level, which controls the volume of the echoes that happen from the delay. We have delay, which controls the time in between delays, which kind of is confusing because sometimes you would call feedback delay because that's how it would kind of have the loops that controls the loops. But yeah, delay is basically the time control. And then, as slightly touched on before, F back is feedback, and that is controlling how many times the delay can loop back into itself, and so the trails can be longer and stuff like that. But also, you can make some pretty strange and wacky sounds with this pedal, because as you'll see, there happens to be, I think, full feedback control. A lot of delays limit the feedback control so that it can't be too horrendous of a sound. This one allows you full control as far as I can tell, but we'll see. I didn't do full testing when I previewed the pedal. So we're finally ready for the clean tone. Alright, let's turn the pedal on. With all controls at noon, I have to adjust them for my intro playing. So this is the pedal with everything at noon. So, just a pretty solid tone right off the bat with everything at noon. But then again, that's kind of how you want it to be with everything at noon usually. So, let's start with the level control, because that's just the most easiest control to demo. So, if we turn it all the way back, I think it fully cuts it out. Let's see. Yes, it does. So, we'll do it. We'll play a little bit with it at the 9 o'clock position. Just very faint. So maybe, it'd be good for a recording situation, but for our demo purposes, it is not too helpful. It's a very specific sound that you'd be looking for. Now, let's turn the level all the way up. Now this is going to make the first repeat basically as loud, if not maybe a little louder even, than your actual playing. So definitely not louder, but the first note or two are going to be as loud as your original playing. So with the level all the way up, your playing can get kind of lost and it can be a little crazy, but I do prefer more present delays. So for me personally, going forward here, or testing out our next knobs, I will leave the echo level, or the level around at this point. Let's do it there. So what is that? That's like the 130 position on a clock, I believe, something like that. So the next thing is going to be our delay control, which, if you remember, will be our time control. So turning it back makes the delays go much closer together. Let's hear it turned all the way down. This may negate it, but let's see. So it is not negating the sound, but it is very closely doubling this sound. So even this can be a very interesting sound, even if you don't like actual delays. So it has kind of like a spring reverb kind of thing going, and it kind of sounds kind of chorusy in a way, because chorus does a similar thing, but in its own way. It's different and unique. Can be a very interesting sound. Let's just turn the knob up a little bit and let's see how it sounds. Now, there is self-oscillation, and it is very easy to activate even on accident. So be aware of that when you're doing controls, but, it's also kind of a feature. So at this level we have kind of a echoey reverb thing going on because the delays are so close together. You get a very much more ambient sound. Let's turn the time knob to about the 10:30 position. So here you have your pretty much basic delay time sound. very interesting. So, we already heard it at noon, so let's go past that. And so turning the knob up obviously will make the delays farther apart. So let's hear it at the 130 position. So we're getting pretty spread out delays. That's not good. I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. I had something going there, but I couldn't quite figure it out. But still a pretty good sound. So now let's turn it to the 3 o'clock position. So, same thing, just a little bit longer out. And so, you know, that's pretty much what max delay is going to be as well. Let's turn up the delay to max. And so we're just going to have very spread out delays. So, very cool. Let's turn the delay time back up to noon, and we will mess with the feedback control. So the feedback control kind of affects how many delays there are actually going to be. Now this control is kind of difficult because I like a nice trail of delays, but when you try to get up higher, it can get a little finicky. So let's go with the lower controls first. Let's see how the feedback control sounds completely at 0, which I believe will completely ground it out. So this will probably just be normal, but let's see. Oh, okay, no. So this is going to do a single delay, called a slapback delay. What am I doing? Personally, I don't like slapback delay, so I don't really know how to use this setting creatively. So yeah, I don't know how. I'll just play a little bit more, but it's probably not going to sound like anything special. Yeah, personally I don't really get this sound, but someone probably likes it, and there are probably other uses for it, especially maybe if you turn down the level a bit and then you use it more as an ambient thing, I don't know. But still a cool feature, nevertheless, for, you know, creativity and creative reasons. So let's turn the feedback to the 9 o'clock position. So it's basically a slapback, but then there's just a little bit of a fizzling another delay after that. So, yeah, personally I wouldn't use this tone because it's basically just another slapback, but with a little bit more. So let's turn the feedback to the 1030 position, see how that sounds. So, as we gradually turn it up, there's going to be more and more delays that are going to be more and more audible. However, because this is a analog delay, I believe that it's considered analog. After a while, your repeats start to degrade. And some people like that sound, some people don't. Some people prefer the digital sound where it's the perfect recreations every time. I think I might be in the digital pool where I like the digital sound better, but I think it's just because this one decays kind of fast. Let's just see, and you'll see and hear and show. So, very cool. Still a reasonable sound if you like, you know, somewhat shorter trails with, you know, at least some body for ambience. So, we've already heard it at noon, so let's go a little past it. Now this is where we can start getting into a little bit of trouble, I think. Let's see. So, we are at the 1:30 position on the clock. So as you can hear, you get quite a few trails, but they are analoguing out. This is not the digital age. Oh my god, I hit so many different notes. So when you have this many trails, you can get into trouble, but you can also have a lot of fun with the rhythm and some ambience happening from just a single guitar. You can fill a lot of space in the sound with just a single guitar with delays around this area. This is kind of around the controls that I like, maybe having a little bit, you know, more or less delay time between them. So let's just hear the trails. So it kind of fades out just in time before the delays get pretty ugly. So that being said, let's turn it up. Let's turn it to the 3 o'clock position and see how that sounds. Uh-oh. So here we have a situation where we have already hit an infinite loop, and it's progressively getting louder. Let's turn that off for a second. So, the problem with being in an infinite loop and an infinite feedback loop is that things will just get louder. This is what happens when you have feedback from your guitar or your microphone, and it just squeals because it's just getting louder and louder the more that the same sound is being picked up, received, and then picked up again and infinitely looped. Now, this is not even at maximum echo level. So I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. Because, like I said, I think I like longer trails. I like a lot of ambience when I'm having fun with delay. But this one kind of gets you into trouble quickly if you like long trails. So, you know, that can be taken as a plus or a minus. It still makes a decent sound, and you can get a decent enough trail if you have it at, if you leave it at the 130 position on the feedback level. But yeah, you're gonna quickly get into trouble here. So if I hadn't let that one note ring out for so long, I think that if you play different notes, it will kind of impede the infinite feedback loop. But let's see. Hopefully this, I believe this resets it when you turn it off. Yeah, okay, so it's not gonna start blaring at us, thank God. Okay, no, it's getting louder. Okay, let's turn that off and reset it again. So, yeah, 130 is kind of the maximum for this pedal if you don't want to make wacky sounds. So, let's turn the feedback all the way up, and this will probably get a little sketchy for me because I recently started playing my amp a little bit louder than I normally would to hear the tones better, and unfortunately this is not a great time to do that. Let's see though. So as you can see, it can still be pretty cool to have a noisemaker on your board. But you do have to get down and start kind of DJ mixing your destruction, let's call it that. And because of those sounds, it kind of makes sense to me, the portal design. I don't know if that was intentional, but to me there's some, you know, almost scary sounds happening coming out of this, you know, this pedal when you want to make some wacky sounds. So I demonstrated it a little bit there, but this pedal does have self-oscillation, I think it's called. I don't remember exactly if that's what it's called, but basically it can make spaceship sounds. That's the way that 60 Cycle Hum describes it. And yeah, so I'm going to try and show you that on a more normal tone. So we're going to turn the echo level back up to our level that we had it, so around the 130. We're going to have the feedback at around 130, and then we're going to start with the delay at noon, and when you rack the time knob, it starts to make cool sounds. So you can almost do some pitch modulation stuff if you do some slight adjustments. But if you do more exaggerated movements, that's a cool sound, although I feel like it might blow out my speaker if I do it too many times. So yeah, it's really cool. Is it a revolutionary delay? No, of course not. But is it still a good delay? Yeah, it's cool, especially that I didn't get to experiment with delay too awful much. The only external delay pedal that I've had before this was the first act delay, which was very similar to this, but this gets a whole lot crazier, which, for better or for worse, it's a feature, and it's still, to me, it's really cool. Like I said, you don't have to make it crazy, but it can get crazy for when you want to be crazy. And I think that that's a cool, valuable tool. Now this will be the logical time to end the video. However, I am going to dink around with some settings and just play around, and stick around if you want, but I've basically already said my final thoughts. Alright, I only messed around for a little while, but... Oh no! I only messed around for a little while, but that's okay. My playing isn't too good anyway. So, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and leave a comment. Please leave some comments to let Sofadio know that I deserve to review their other pedals. If not, tell me how bad I was, because that's what everyone else does. So, if you found this video entertaining or informational, please consider leaving a like. This channel is normally a music channel, so we normally focus on guitar and drum related content. However, we do also do some other content every other video. Usually it has been a lot of 3D printing, because 3D printing has been very important to me lately. So if that sounds good to you, then please consider subscribing. That's all I have to say for now, so I'm gonna say bye-bye. I played this little riff while I was messing with it, and I'm trying to remember it, and I keep messing it up. Damn it, my hair and everything keeps getting in the way. That's what I wanted to play. Oh, alright.